Hello, so welcome to this video. This is going to be how I train while in a fat loss phase. Let's get a nice plain background. And to be honest, it doesn't change. It doesn't change from when I was trying to gain muscle to trying to lose body fat. There are some things that we have to take into consideration, like my stability, like my joints aren't as lubricated as they were when I was eating loads of food. And some movements have taken a bit of a hit, and I have had to reduce the weight down a little bit. This today is probably my hardest session of the week. This is my posterior session. I just want to give you guys like an insight of how I train, what progressive overload really is, training to failure or mechanical failure, and I kind of want you to see that like how hard I am putting in. Like you'll be able to see by some of the facial expressions that I am not just doing it. I'm not just going through the motions. I am really trying to push myself, and I'm really trying to up the weight or get more reps, and that's pretty much what I do with training. I normally have like a top set or two top sets, which is like a heavier load, so potentially a 6 to 8 or 8 to 10 in some things, and then I'll have a back off set, which is like a 10 to 12, how you getting on, or a 12 to 15, and that's again just me trying to get strong across a bunch of rep ranges. I think there's a lot of data to suggest that you can gain muscle from like 1 rep to 30 reps, so we kind of play from end to end. At the minute I train chest and arms Monday, lower Tuesday, rest Wednesday, pull or like a back session Thursday, chest and triceps on Friday, and then a posterior day, which is like my glutes, my hammies, and some of my upper back. Again, hopefully I'll jump back in. I'll probably just voice over the training. I've got a mix of top and back off sets in there, so you can see me doing all different kinds of rep ranges. And again, I'll probably jump back in later on, try and explain some things, and hopefully provide some value to you. Thanks very much. Hello, so I am going to voice over all the movements of this session. It is now like a week later. I am, like I said before, I'm trying to take my time with these. I'm trying to just enjoy doing it. I'm going to talk about what I think about when I'm doing these movements, potential reasons why I'm doing them in the order that I am doing them. Again, there's a, what is it called now? Priority theory or priority. It depends what your main goal is to why you should be doing a certain amount of it or certain exercise in a certain order. Priority principle, that's what it's called. I'll kind of talk through that a little bit. I'll talk through what I'm doing. Having watched these back, I do now know I can train harder, which is again a benefit of recording yourself. I thought I was training to absolute failure, but watching these back, I feel like I could maybe have squeezed 1 or 2 reps out. I'm going to try and do this in one take. I'm going to try and just record over with my voice explaining these things in one go. I hope it's exciting. I hope you get some value from it. And then what I'll probably do is I'll probably jump on once I've done the full voiceover and just kind of round the whole video up. I hope you're well, I hope you're excited, and thank you very much for watching this. Okay, so as you can see, my first exercise of a leg day is the leg extension. This is pretty much just to prime the quad and the knee, I guess, to prepare it for the heavier lifts that I'm going to do. This movement also allows me to get the quad as short as possible, so when your leg's straight, the quad tensing as hard as it can. That just means that the fibers are sliding across one another and making it shorter. Everything else that I do, it's much harder. Every other movement that I do, it makes it much harder to do this sort of really hard, really intense contraction. What I'm thinking about when I'm doing these is I'm trying to think of straightening my leg as hard as I possibly can. I'm trying to pull my kneecap up to my hip almost. I really focus on pulling myself into the seat. And what I'm doing here is what's called a myo set. And that's when you go to mechanical failure. Like I could have flung another one up there, but I want to really control it with my quads. And then I'm going to that point of failure, and then I'm giving myself like 5 seconds or 5 big breaths, and I'm trying to just go to failure again. And you can almost think of that as like 2 sets in one go. It just saves a bit of time. As you can see there, I just completely failed. I couldn't have straightened my legs anymore. Okay, so this is the hack squat. And I believe this is my back off set, but I feel like this day, what I did do is I done my 10 to 12 set before I done my 6 to 8. All I think about when I'm doing this is I try and really get my core nice and tight. I pull my hands in so the machine, the pads on the machine are really tight in with my shoulders. And as I'm lowering myself, I'm trying to think of my knees coming forward to stretch my quad as much as possible. And then I'm driving my legs into the platform as hard as I possibly can. And again, I'm thinking of straightening my legs as hard as I can. You may see that there's like a red daisy chain, it's called. I was going to call it a carabiner, but it's attached by a carabiner, and a band. And what that's to do is when I'm in that bottom position, that's when the muscle's at its weakest. And then when it's at its strongest, when it's about halfway up. So when it's at its weakest, I'm giving myself a little bit of help to allow for when it's at the strongest to be able to contract as hard as I can. You may also see here that I'm kind of dead after these. I don't know if I got 10 or 12 there, but I think that's like a tied PB. Something that I really want to talk about is like getting your head in the right place as well. You can see I take a minute before I go. Like I call it flipping the switch. Like that's the way I think of it. And I go from like smiley Tom to not angry Tom, but it's like focused Tom with a bit of aggression. Like I've got to attack this as hard as I can because it is heavy. I've got 4 20s and a 10 on each side there, and at the minute I'm only weighing 78 kilos. So this is more than double my body weight. And you can see it in my face. I am trying really hard, but I'm trying really hard to keep things technically correct. So I'm trying really hard to keep my core tight, and I'm trying to really squeeze my quads. And like I say, I thought I was training to complete failure, but I think if I'd had a spot here, I maybe could have got one more. Maybe. A little bit less dramatic after this one, and I managed to just walk away. This movement here, I really enjoy it. I just want to put in that you see me almost dying here. This machine's not quite fully buckled down into the ground, so it slides, and it slid back there. There was someone there watching me, so I was safe, I was alright. So this is a narrow stance Smith machine squat. And again, this is more of a quad focused movement. So if you see, my feet are a little bit narrower than what they would be for a normal squat, and you can see I'm trying to drive my knees over my toes to again just allow for like a longer stretching of the quad. And then what I'm trying to think of is I'm trying to think of pushing the floor away as hard as I can and squeezing my quads straight. Again, this is definitely one of the movements that I've lost a little bit of strength on this, and I used to reverse band it, so that means like what I was talking about earlier on, when I'm in that bottom position, that's when the muscle's at its weakest. I definitely think if I'd had a spot there, I could have maybe got 1 or 2 more reps. This movement here, it's a bit of an odd one. I keep having weird feelings with it. And I've been speaking with Vaughn about this. I've been getting weird popping in my hips, and I don't know if it's because I'm trying to push my knees out. This movement is called a sumo stance leg press. So you can see my legs are much higher, much wider on the platform, and I'm trying to use my hamstrings and my glutes, so my bum in the back of my legs. And you can see there, I definitely could have pushed a few more reps. And then this second leg press is I'm much narrower and I'm lower. I can't really get comfortable just now on this leg press, or any, to be honest. It's maybe to do with my ankle mobility, meaning how much I can move my feet like up and down, but I don't feel like I get great range of motion. However, if I come any lower, what starts to happen is my hips pop out of the seat, and it's really not comfortable. And I feel a lot of pressure on my lower back. But again, I think I could have pushed in a few more reps there. This is gross. Couple lads in the gym. So, a seated hamstring curl. What I think about here is I think about pulling my heels back towards my bum as hard as I can, and I try and make sure that the point that rotates, or the point of rotation, I think it's called in technical terms, is perfect on the machine, is a perfect line with my knees, just so it moves mechanically well with my body. I'm trying to pull myself into the seat, and I'm trying not to let my pelvis move at all, because that can allow for the hamstring to lengthen, and it makes it a little bit easier, the movement. So I'm trying to keep everything still, and then I'm giving myself a little spot there. Again, you can see I am training hard, and that's where I'm only eating 1,700 calories on training days and 1,600 on non-training days. Calf raises, the unicorn exercise. You only see them every now and then, or there's just something a lot of people talk about. With the men's physique, I do have to have, like, my calves are out, so like my shorts come down to just above my knees. You can see me leaning over the machine here. That's just to add a bit more weight without actually adding weight. I quite like the way that feels. What you can also see as well is when I'm in that bottom position, I pause for a couple seconds. I contract the calf and then start driving my toes down. Like, I'm not just bouncing up and down, because that all you're doing then is you're just allowing your Achilles to take all that tension, whereas we want to be training the muscle. So I pause for a few seconds and then I try and contract before I even start going up. See, I was going to give up then. Maybe I'm not training as hard as I thought I was. I maybe need to get a session with some of the big boys to get really pushed on. But again, the best thing about filming yourself is you do actually get to see how hard you're going, and if you are getting to that mechanical failure. Yeah, see, I could have 100% pushed another rep there. So yeah, I don't include cardio in my actual training. This is an extra thing I'm doing just now. Once I'm finished with that, I'll explain it a bit better. As you can tell, I'm about a puff. I've only been on for 9 minutes. Wish me luck, and I'll speak to you in 50. So, as you can see, I really do hope that voiceover gives you some sort of benefit. It maybe helps you with your training. I can touch more on things. I did just try and freestyle that. Like, I just done it off the cuff and I just done it in one take. So I'm sorry if it's crap. It probably is. You can see I do train quite hard, but I feel like after watching that back again, I could definitely be training harder, especially on that leg press. I just need to get comfortable and locked in. But I will take that into consideration, and I will start doing that. So for muscle growth, muscle retention, strength, what you need to do is there's a thing called volume load, and that's sets times reps times weight. And if you can get one of those three things to increase over each week or over a couple of weeks or over a month, you will be stimulating muscle growth and strength. What I try and aim to do is, if I get a set, say I've got a set of 6 to 8 reps, what I'll do is I'll try and hit 6 with the most weight I possibly can, and then the following week I'll try and hit 7 with the same weight, and then the following week I'll try and hit 8. And the second that I hit 8, the next week I'm going to add a bit more weight and then go back to 6 reps. I hope that makes sense. So it's called progressive overload, or linear progression, where I'm just continually increasing that volume load, that sets times reps times weight, is one of those numbers is going to go up. I don't really add extra sets because the recovery kind of goes. What we found with me is I can kind of push really hard for like 9 to 12 weeks, and then I need to have a recovery, and that's just due to the volume that I'm accumulating. So we don't really increase sets. Some movements that are lagging, I know my upper chest, we put in a lot more volume or a lot more sets of that to try and allow that to grow. I did touch on the priority principle, and that just means whatever your goal is. So for me, this last training block, it was to get bigger shoulders and a bigger upper chest. So we would put something to do with shoulders or upper chest at the start of every upper body session. I needed to grow my quads, so you can see that leg session was very quad dominant, but I do have a second session which is hamstrings and glutes. I don't want to waffle too much on. I don't want to use too much technical jargon. I feel like the majority of you guys are like me, like general population people, just trying to look a little bit better, feel a bit better, and train and just feel a bit fitter. I don't want to get into too much about a lot of like the technical stuff, because I don't think you'll really care, and I maybe also don't know enough details just now to off the cuff like blurt it out to you. I know not many of you are bodybuilders, and I know most of you aren't trying to do the same thing I'm trying to do with the bodybuilding competition. I know that sounds so contradictory, but I am just a regular bloke trying to be a little bit fitter, trying to look a little bit better and try to feel a bit better about myself. But I knew throwing myself into going into a bodybuilding competition was going to really push me. I've waffled on plenty here. Let me know if this is any use, if this is any good. If you like seeing how I train, I can show you other sessions, upper body sessions, push sessions, chest sessions. I can talk about what I think about when I'm doing them to ensure I'm working the correct muscles or the correct part of the muscle. If you want to see food, if you want to see routines, if you want to see coaching, let me know. Thank you very much for watching. If you got this far through, please do leave a little comment below. I will try and reply to all of them. And if you do have any questions, please ask. And if there's anything that you want me to cover, let me know and I will do my best to do it.